guys, welcome back to my channel. I am super excited for today's video because we are currently in Paris, France, which is obviously very exciting. I have been here once before, but it was like over 10 years ago, so I obviously wasn't old enough to truly appreciate it, but I have been having such a good trip so far. I'm here with my family. Aside from the fun sightseeing things we're going to be doing, obviously I'm going to take you guys along for either some reading or book shopping, which hopefully I'll get some good footage of. One of the bookshops here that's really famous. There's technically not allowed to be any photography or videography, but I've seen other people ask if they can and they've allowed it, so we shall see. I hope I can at least get some footage. I will at least get the outside. There is some stands, but you guys will see whether or not I get footage of that later on. But anyway, so I am currently reading Thrive, which is, I believe, the 5th book in the Addicted series. I'm not totally sure. I can't remember exactly what the other orders are. We are back to following Lily and Lo, which if you haven't heard about this series, Lily is a sex addict and Lo is an alcoholic, but right now they're both basically in recovery. However, I will say this book, Thrive specifically, is following the series of events that happened in the previous 2 books, which was Kiss the Sky and Hot House Flower, which follow Rose and Connor and Reich and Daisy, so the 2 other couples slash sisters in this series. So it is a little bit more repetitive than I would like it, which is probably my main criticism. Otherwise, I am probably liking this book of Lily and Lo's a lot more than, I think it was their first 2 or 3, I can't remember exactly, but we're finally starting to see a lot more of them as individuals and people rather than just addicts and kind of in a really toxic enabling relationship. We're finally starting to see how like funny and dorky they are and how much they love each other and care about each other, which for me has been really nice because I wasn't really sure how much I would like this book just based off of the first 2 of theirs, but again, just so much better and so much more enjoyable to read. I love how like geeky and into comics they are and how they just have such deep like love and respect and care for each other despite all of the craziness in their lives and how much is going on. So I've been really loving this book and it is super easy to read, super easy to get through. I found that to be the case with all of the books in the Addicted series, so if you're looking for a nice easy to read romance, I would definitely recommend the series. It is a little bit long, so it's a little bit intimidating, but I would not let that stop you at all. It's, like I said, very easy to get through. This was a little bit long of an intro. It's kind of going to be a different video than I normally do since we're going to be doing a normal reading vlog while also kind of a small vacation vlog while also a little bit of a book shopping vlog, hopefully. But yeah, so later today I will be going to the Louvre. I'll probably add a little bit of footage of that too, but yeah, so that'll be it for me. I will see you guys all a little bit later. Okay, hey guys, so it is the next day. I did actually last night pretty late, close to like midnight. I finished Thrive and I really did like it. I think I'm going to give it either a 3.75 or a 4. I'm not totally sure yet because I really did enjoy it. I got through it decently quickly. My main issues were just, again, like the repetitiveness of it because you're following the same timelines and even some of the same conversations that you'd seen in the other 2 previous books, just from a different perspective. So I don't know, I just didn't think it maybe needed to be quite as long as it was. Maybe just cut out those conversations where you just literally see the other perspective, because I feel like we decently got that in those first 2 books. I don't know. Other than that, I did really like it. Again, pretty much the same things that I said before. I just really liked seeing Lily and Lo develop more and just kind of getting to see them more individually in their own personal interests and their kind of just like dorkiness and just actually more of their personality as people rather than just addicts. Basically just the same things that I said before. I don't really have too much else to add because it, again, you already kind of knew them, you already kind of seen that flaw before, so really liked that. And then after that, I didn't read very much, but I did start reading a little bit of, I think it's We Free the Stars or We Hunt the Flame. I can't remember which one is first in that series or duology, but I started reading that. It's really cool. It's a little bit hard to describe because I've only read maybe like 5 or so pages, but it is based off ancient Arabia, which is really cool. Just a really new setting, which I've never read a book kind of set in that world, although it is fantasy though, so it's not like exactly history or anything like that. And I will say though, I mean, I haven't gotten that far, so I'm sure the world building does get obviously a lot easier once you know, learn more and understand some of the characters and stuff. But even just on the first page, there were a good 5 to 10 words that I just had no idea what they meant. And of course my Wi-Fi here is pretty bad and pretty spotty, so I just wasn't able to actually look them up and see if they had real meanings or if, you know, they were just made up words for the story. But either way, it was very interesting so far. Our main character, Zafira, is a hunter, but she's actually like pretending to be a guy, so it gives me a little bit of a Mulan vibe. Not totally, obviously. It's very, very distantly related, but that's, you know, something it kind of made me think of. But she's basically pretending to be a boy to be able to hunt because I guess girls aren't allowed to hunt or something like that. And there's this kind of dangerous magical forest that she has to hunt in. I'm, again, still not totally sure all of it behind it, but so far she seems really cool. We've only been introduced to her yet. We haven't been introduced to the main male character. Yeah, so it seems really interesting. Obviously I'll come back and give you guys a little bit more of a better synopsis once I understand what's going on, but I did actually read the synopsis for this book because I was pretty confused just based off the first 2 pages, and it sounds really interesting, so I'm pretty excited to see where it goes. It does sound a little bit close to the plot of Powerless, not totally similar at all, just kind of like the enemies to lovers aspect of it, just like having a prince who is his dad's enforcer and then just a kind of poor FMC, but other than that, not really the same at all. Just kind of like, I did just read Powerless as the second to last book I read, so, you know, obviously we'll make that correlation a little bit more. But yeah, so that'll be it for me. I am hoping to also go book shopping today. Again, I don't know if I'll get any good footage of it or not, but I will hopefully do, and if I do, you guys will be able to see it in the next few clips. Hey guys, so clearly it is later in the day now. I did get a little bit of footage in both of the bookstores that I went to, although I wasn't technically allowed to in the first one. I just kind of didn't ask and hid my phone while I was filming, but gotta do what you gotta do, right? Anyways, I did want to do like a tiny little book haul, not anything too crazy, because I did have another book haul that I was planning on doing when I get back. So I'm just gonna show you guys them really, really quickly. I did get a special edition Shatter Me with some sprayed edges, a UK cover of Beach Read, the UK covers for the entire Caraval trilogy, and the UK cover for the Ballad of Never After, because they didn't have the other books in this trilogy. But if you guys didn't know, I actually have read all of these books. That was kind of like the point for me with getting some of them, since I didn't want to just get books that I'd never heard of before while I had the opportunity to get some of these UK covers or special editions. So for me, I just wanted to get, again, the UK covers and the special editions of books that I've read and loved. So that's what I did. I also did get 2 totes from the Shakespeare Company bookstore, which is probably one of the most famous, or if not the most famous, at least for English books in Paris. So that was really exciting. It is such a pretty bookstore, and if you guys are ever in Paris, I would definitely recommend going there. They have a really, really good selection of not only really rare and like old used books or whatever, but they also had obviously a really good amount of new, you know, book talk books, so that was really nice. I haven't really gotten to read too much today just because I was basically out, you know, doing stuff the entire day, and you know, I am in Paris to see Paris, not to read, unfortunately, although I did read like maybe a page or two while we were on, I don't know if you call it the subway or the tube or, you know, the underground railroad, whatever. Okay, maybe definitely not the Underground Railroad. Anyways, but yeah, so those are the books that I got. Obviously, very excited to display them and potentially reread some of them. But yeah, so that'll be it for right now. Once I actually read a little bit more, I will definitely update you guys on the book. So far though, I am like really liking just the like setting of it. Something about it is just very unlike anything else that I've ever read. So I am really excited to see, you know, how it develops and continues. But yeah, so I will see you guys a little bit later. I do actually leave tomorrow, and I think I have like an 11 or 12-hour flight, which is a little bit ridiculous. But obviously with that, I will have a lot more time to be reading, although I should definitely be doing schoolwork considering I only have 2 more weeks and then a bunch of finals. But I am not the best with, you know, sticking to what I'm supposed to be doing, so we'll see. So that'll be it. I will let you guys know once I read a little bit more of We Hunt the Flame. I literally have no idea what book I'm reading, but I'll add it. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Okay, hey guys, so right now I am back in California, if you can't tell, and I think what I'm gonna do is just end this vlog once I finish We Hunt the Flame, since this way I'll just like complete, you know, the little reading vlog with that. Anyways, so right now I'm 33% through, and I don't know if it's just like right book, right time or what, but something about me and this book are just really clicking. I am really enjoying it so far. It's exactly kind of what I was hoping and wanting from this book. So just to give you like a little bit what it's about, so we have our main female character Zafira, and then our MMC, which is Nasir. He is the Sultan's son and his assassin, and then Zafira is living in one of the caliphates, which is kind of just like a section of the entire nation, I think. Like, I don't know what some of the words mean, but honestly most of it you can kind of pick up through context clues and stuff like that. It's honestly not that hard to understand. But anyway, so she's a hunter in her little village, town, whatever you want to call it, and most people don't actually know that she's a huntress, so she kind of like wears a cloak and pretends to be a man, just because in this area, you know, women aren't actually allowed to like work and stuff. There was a curse or like something that anyways they just think that if women are working it's going to result in bad things essentially, but she's kind of helping to prove that that's not the case, and even though she's still undercover, you know, you kind of go along with that. I don't feel like I'm explaining this very well at all, but it's honestly not that hard to understand while you're actually reading. So, you know, that's good. In this land, this area, there's this kind of magical, dark, haunted forest thing that nobody can go into and then come out alive and sane except for Zafira. So she's kind of the only one who's able to actually feed her village and her town and stuff. So she's just kind of like, I don't know, some kind of chosen one, something. Again, I feel like I'm explaining this horribly, but it's really not that hard to understand. And so basically at this point, she's kind of just about to start this quest to potentially bring magic back and kind of stop this thing that's potentially going to kill her whole village. So that's kind of where we're at now. I will say that up to this point we haven't really had as much romance, which I honestly do not mind at all. I feel like we're developing them both as individual characters really well, which is something that I really enjoy about this. There are like little subplots of romance going on with our 2 main characters, but with other people, which has been really interesting to read about, and I'm enjoying that a lot. I don't know, I don't want to spoil too much or give too much away, but I do think that gives you kind of like a good basis for at least what this book's about, and I have been just really loving it. I think I said it before, but I've never actually read a book that's set in this whole ancient Arabia type of area, and really liking it again. I feel like I keep repeating myself with that, but I'll come back in a little bit once I have something else to say about it. Okay, hey guys, so it's been a couple days since I actually ended up finishing We Hunt the Flame, and if you're wondering, I do actually have some like pimple cream on my forehead. I'm breaking out a little bit. Yeah, so I ended up really liking this. I'm giving it like a 4.25. Honestly, it's gotten so hard for me to actually like figure out how to rate books now. The more I read them, the less I know how to rate them, which is just the oddest thing. But anyways, so I did really like this. I ended up really liking the characters and the found family that you get in this, which I wasn't really expecting at all. I do do think that it did slow down a little bit in the middle. I do understand why like the slower, more character development scenes were in there, but it did feel a little bit slow at some points and it did kind of drag on a little bit. And I wish there was just like a tiny little bit more of tension in some of like the action and the romance scenes. The romance does develop like really slowly, and I do think it's like that's just the nature of it being a duology. I don't necessarily mind that, but I do think that if you're going into this looking for a lot of romance, you're gonna have to like be aware that it doesn't really develop towards the end, and even then like it's only very little, and I think in the second book it'll probably develop a lot more. I don't know, I haven't read it yet, but yeah, so I really do recommend this. I absolutely love the setting, which that was probably like one of my favorite parts. That was just like a really refreshing new thing, especially just because I feel like a lot of fantasy books kind of have a similar setting and thing. But yeah, so I definitely would recommend for more people to read this. I think it's a really good YA fantasy, which again, so it is YA. I feel like that's also something to know, but yeah, I really liked this, would definitely recommend. And yeah, so I think that's gonna wrap up this video. It has been a little bit since I started it, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously I had a really good time when I was in Paris. I was there with my family and my uncles, so that was really nice, especially to just get a little bit of a break from school. But now I'm back and stressed and trying to deal with finals, which I have coming up over the next couple days, which is why I haven't been filming and just like reading as much. But yeah, so I hope you guys liked this video and kind of going around Paris with me and seeing some of their bookstores. I had a really good time. Their bookstores there are just so pretty. So that's gonna wrap up this video, and I will see you guys all in the next one. This is